Hey everyone, a short video, semi-short video to expose the tech stack that we use over at Humanoids. I do think we're all sometimes a bit too obsessed with the perfect tech stack. We spend weeks debating Next versus Remix, Clerk versus Auth, arguing in Discord about database choices, etc., etc. What we do as Humanoids is we ship on a weekly or let's say a bi-weekly basis, not prototypes, but not demos, full products with payments, authentication, real users. And I want to show you the exact stack that we use to be able to ship a lot of ventures in a short amount of time. Some of them might come as a surprise and some of them have actually become table stakes. So first of all, I want to start with authentication. And it's kind of like the nightmare that nobody talks about or nobody admits, let's say. And so last month I was looking at this, there was this Discord discussion about a builder who was spending like $2,000 or $3,000 on Auth, the enterprise plan with all the bells and whistles. 3 weeks later, still trying to implement this roles-based access. This is a true story, right? And what kind of kills me is that everyone thinks authentication is solved. So you just use Clerk or you just use NextAuth and then that's perfect. And I'm talking from a product owner point of view, not from a developer point of view. My development skills or my builder skills are pretty bad, but I'm talking from a product owner point of view, managing multiple ventures at the same time. And then the thing is that you install NextAuth, for example, and then you need magic links and, you know, OAuth and admin panels and role hierarchies. And suddenly like your simple swim lane or your simple task of building authentication, it turns into 5,000 lines of custom code. So we use better off one package, magic links, OAuth, roles, admin UI. It's all built in. There's no monthly fees eating your runway. No surprise overages when you start to get traction. It's set up in like 20 minutes. There's a cool community and we never touch it again. So that's kind of on authentication. Next is payment. So that's also a whole discussion. I think I've integrated Stripe about 17 times so far, and each time it's the same story. The Stripe checkout is super simple, but then you need subscriptions and one-time payments. And how do you handle upgrades? And what do you mean the webhook failed? That comes up a lot. Then someone mentions Paddle or Lemon Squeezy, and you start over. Our approach today is to use Polar.sh. Used to be a small sort of startups scale up. Now they're growing, and this one's becoming pretty table stakes in the development world. It's great for the complexity. They handle the subscription logic, the customer portals, and tax compliance, and all this stuff that kind of makes you want to quit from time to time. So, you know, now we ship these payment flows in hours, not days, not weeks. So the recommendation is Polar over here. In terms of database, so I think I see a lot of the wrong discussions happening. It shouldn't be about PostgreSQL versus MySQL. It shouldn't be about Prisma or Drizzle. Should I use Edge? You start to have the right conversation. The right question is, how do I not block production at like 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., whatever it is? Our solution is a mix of Supabase and Prisma. So, you know, that's it with auto migrations. That's kind of our answer. The real-time subscriptions when you need them, there's automatic backups, edge functions, there's row-level security, and you've got these Prisma migrations. It means your database, it evolves with your code. And I'll talk about pricing and stuff later on. No more works on my machine disasters and doesn't work in a live environment. So Supabase plus Prisma. Another thing that we felt was really important is type safety. So, you know, you hear these stories where an API breaks in production and then customer data is exposed, not because it was hacked, but because of a typo. So for example, user.email versus user.email. And then the TypeScript can catch that locally, and the JavaScript in production, it doesn't catch it for some reason. So our solution for this is TRPC with Hono. And it's not just about developer experience. I think it's really about not needing to explain why data was leaked. So you get full type safety from database to front end, And then if you change the field name, every place it's used lights up in red. So there's no more like, let's look at the code base and hope we find everything. This isn't over engineering in my opinion. This is just like engineering, right? with a certain level of attention to detail. Next, I want to talk about CMS. I think this is the CMS tool or solution that almost nobody talks about at this point, but we're going to talk about it more and more. Sometimes the solution is we'll just use markdown files, then famous last words, right? Because then you have to draft, publish workflows, multiple authors, you want SEO, image optimization, multi-language support, stuff like that, and content scheduling. So 3 months later, you've ended up building your own CMS instead of your actual product, or you're paying for off-the-shelf CMSs that are just way too expensive and that increase prices yearly. So Payload CMS is a great solution in our opinion. It handles all of this. A visual editor for non-technical team members, full programmatic access for SEO for developers, and in terms of SEO, the SEO fields are built in. And then what's great is that the roles, the user rights management, the roles and permissions, they actually work. And as usual, just sort of great documentation. Your content team ships content and your dev team ships features, right? Nobody blocks anyone. Another one that I want to mention with regards to emailing, both marketing email and transactional email at a fantastic price, great user interface, is Resend. So this is one that we're currently using. Great deliverability rates. The analytics dashboarding is getting better and better, and the setup is just really strong and getting stronger. So love Resend, that you can do email marketing, but also transactional emails with. So that's the recommendation there, Resend. Now, what really changes everything for us, and I'm going to plug a little bit something we're building. So if you don't want the plug, stop watching now. But what we've done is the dirty little secret about our speed is not so much the tools that we use. It's not the stack. It's how our AI understands the stack. So every project starts with an AI generated PRD. And not generic user stories, but actual technical requirements that map our stack. The AI knows we use better auth, so it specs the auth flow correctly from day one. And we also got like custom cursor rules. We also got custom cursor rules for every project. The AI, it doesn't just write code, it writes our code. And we do this using a tool that we've now released to the public, which is called BuilderBox. And this is not like a generic solution, it's project specific structure based on the PRD. And so the way it works is essentially like you do your project setup, you give it a few pieces of information, who your target audience is, et cetera, and then we build all these MD files for you. The schema, sales files, flow, the design files, and more importantly, the PRD. We also have live previews cooked into it, and it's a very, very simple tool to use. You just start a new project, give it your name, the description, purpose and audience, problems and features, design style, user journey, and then it's going to build it up for you really rapidly. Also check out BuilderBox. And what's great is that in order to deploy, it's like it's basically a one-click deployment, right? So you go to your code generation, it's going to generate the code for you. Your project files are finalized, and you just run this one command over here. That's kind of it. That's what I wanted to share. I think that people sometimes look at our stack, look at stacks and think it's about the tools. It's not. I think Stripe doesn't make you ship faster. Supabase doesn't make you ship faster. Even AI doesn't make you ship faster, to be honest. What makes you ship faster is decisions. Every tool in our stack, and the one I presented today, represents like a decision that we don't have to make again. Authentication, decided. Payments, decided. Database, decided. No meetings about what we should consider, what we should review. We picked, we committed, we shipped. And then there's also this cost aspect, of course. I think today to ship a product, a V1 strong, stable, post MVP version of your product that doesn't break the moment you start getting payments from more users, probably cost about maybe $150 per month. Like Supabase, $25 per month. Resend, $20 a month. Polar, it's revenue share only. Everything else is open source. Whereas compare that to the enterprise stack. Like if you're using Auth.sh, that's like $500 a month. SendGrid, you're looking like $200 a month. A Contentful, that's like $400 a month. You're already looking at about $1,000, $1,200 a month. Vercel, it's when you scale. Versal, sorry. So, I mean, that's kind of it. Here's what I learned building humanoids so far. The perfect stack doesn't exist, but the perfect stack for you does. And I hope some of the tips that I gave can really be helpful. Most importantly, stop optimizing, start shipping, and start putting things in front of customers and users. I hope you enjoyed this, and then thanks a bunch. Bye.